Hello and welcome to Dubbel Feature, a podcast about movies and beer. I'm Andrew Gibney.
And I'm Tom Coase, and we have watched Nightcrawler.
We're first! Go around! Get a shot inside the car!
Hey, back away!
I got it, I'm back!
Will this be on television?
Morning news, if it bleeds, it leads.
Are you currently hiring? I'm starting a TV news business.
You, get back!
I film breaking stories. Maybe you saw my item this morning, you were fatal carjacking.
No, I don't have a TV.
Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah.
Does it have GPS?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're hired.
Okay.
This is the fourth
Fourth. No, fourth.
film
Yeah,
of the Netflix tapes.
And then, yep.
And this was one of my picks, which won the vote. Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene, Russo, Ahmed. I've been wanting to see this film since it was 2014. I remember seeing the trailer with Kat, I think, in the cinema, and I was like, "Oh, that was really good." But yeah, really good. Then you just never see it. You're like, why haven't I watched it? I don't know why. And it was on my list of 86 films that I wanted to see. So I watched it recently, 3-4 weeks ago, and I was looking at the stats because why didn't I see it? I don't think it got that big a cinema release at all.
Right.
I was looking. I've got the box office numbers up because it made 32 million on a budget of 8. But it ranks it in the 300 movies of that year.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It got beat by A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Sadly, I contributed to that beating it. Yeah.
Expendables 3.
No, I did not. I did not.
Sex Tape.
Nice.
Yep.
So
Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, that the films of
nice.
ilk, yeah.
Right, okay.
Which is quite sad because I think, and even on rewatching again, it's a really good film.
Yeah.
It's a really enjoyable film. It's really different. I think it's a really interesting story. It's you see the guy lose, and you're like, this guy is fucked up. This guy is not well.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that there was no redemption story. There was no, he becomes a good guy, he doesn't become a hero, he doesn't even become a good person. He's a scumbag at the start, he's probably even more of a scumbag at the end, but still quite likeable.
No, I didn't like him at all.
And I kind of like that it's different in that, so you don't get a backstory, you don't know why he's really not got a good job or why he's in a bit of shit.
He's a fucking horrible human being, that's why.
There's no sub story, and I like that. I liked it was different in that sense. And yeah, I thought it did a lot of really good things really well.
We'll get into those, but first, do you want to talk about the beer that you're drinking?
Let's talk about the beer.
Because obviously, this is half the podcast, as usual. You always forget.
You not mention it, the first thing I mentioned. I am drinking from Runaway Brewery. It's called Gary Ghosts. It's a ginger, waplum, and kombu beer collaboration with Umezushi.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I know them well.
But I've not had a sip yet. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. I'm trying to work out where my beer's from. All right, cool. Oh, you're drinking out of a bottle?
I am. It's pommy and it's gingery. It's not bad.
Okay. Oh, is it the one that said ginger that I was...
it's not.
It's not that one.
This is one you can see the...
I can't. You're sat in the dark like a creep.
It's actually quite late. I was saying this is dark.
And I am drinking a DDH IPA from Cloudwater Brewery called I Have Become the Boat. It is apparently bold and juicy and should have an underpinning of juicy tangerine and fuzzy peach. So let's find out. That's what the can says.
It looks juicy from the dark. Oh, that's a good noise.
I immediately got the peach. It's thick.
Is it a fuzzy peach?
It's thick. It doesn't. I mean, it's definitely not watery in that sense. It says full-bodied, and I agree.
Yep.
It's a juicy finish. I definitely agree. Passion fruit, smooth mango, and sweet strawberries. There's just a lot of fruit in it. It's probably my 5 a day in this beer, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, no, very good so far. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoying it from the first sip, and it is vegan friendly, so it obviously helps a lot of the Manchester population. But back to the film.
I was going to say that it's got a description on this as well. I don't want to sell the listeners short. Brewed in collaboration with Manchester sushi legends Umezushi, Goes is based on the idea of Gary, a palate-cleansing pickled ginger eaten with or after sushi. Now, being a massive sushi fan, as I shake my head, I'm a fuck. What Gary is directly inspired by ingredients from the Umezushi kitchen. I didn't even know what that place is or where it is in Manchester. But the beer it's a really easily drinkable beer with a kind of weird taste of plum and ginger, which isn't overpowering.
Plum, as in like
plum.
Plum. I thought you were trying to either be French and be like apple, or you were just trying to be really cool and be like it's short for pomegranate.
Down with the pom.
Yeah, I was like, what are you going for? Plum. That makes a lot more sense.
Like it's not like an overpowering. Remember that beer I had from, was it Wild Beer, that medicine?
Yes, yeah.
Which was fucking rank, and that had like too much of like gingery and all that going on.
Yeah,
But this has got the right amount that it makes it very drinkable. I don't know what kombu is to even know if that's in it.
Just for kombucha, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a nice.
All right.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the film?
I did enjoy it. I didn't really know much going into it. I knew of the film. It's been on my list. It was on Amazon. It was on both Amazon Prime and Netflix for ages, and it's been on both those lists for a very long time. Never got around to watching it, so I was actually quite glad when this came up. I didn't really know what I was going into. I knew what it was about in the terms of him photographing
it wasn't about what I thought it was going to be about.
And so I knew that's what it was about because it came out when I was doing my master's, and obviously I was doing the multimedia journalism master's. So everyone was a bit kind of like, oh, it's got something to do with journalism kind of thing. And right. But I never got around to watching it. But no, I enjoyed it.
Hashtag research.
Yeah, hashtag research. Yeah. And my first thought when I first saw the thing is I don't like bad Jake Gyllenhaal. I just don't like it. It just doesn't. As in, he plays it very well. I just don't. My mind doesn't agree with it. For me, Jake is a good guy. And
did you not like him in Spider-Man: Far From Home then?
Yeah, but he was good for a lot of that.
But it was ultimately bad.
Obviously, it was ultimately bad. But when I say I don't like him, it's like I'm not saying that I don't like. I hate the performance. I enjoy the performance, and I really enjoyed the performance in Far From Home. But this was a different kind of bad.
Oh yeah.
To Spider-Man: Far From Home. Spider-Man: Far From Home is
scumbag bad.
Yeah, this is the worst kind of human being bad, and while he clearly lost a lot of weight for the role because he was very gaunt, he looked tired a lot of the time.
Yeah, the story is that the director said Lewis was like a coyote, like up at night, like picking bones.
Yeah.
And Gyllenhaal took that as like literal, meant, okay, I'm going to lose like 35 pounds.
Yeah.
And basically be like a coyote when he was like, oh, okay.
Okay then. But it's, so it was he pale, gaunt, skinny. When you've seen him be Prince of Persia and stacked as anything, you know what I mean? Like, so it was very much that kind of like Christian Bale contrast where he clearly clearly believed in this film and put a lot of effort into it. But so I like that part of it. I just my head just struggled for a lot of the film to be like, this is the nice guy who played Prince of Persia and does all these really cool films, and I like him in all these films. Why do I not like him in this film? But
and that's, I'm sure, also do performances in the second part, but that's a testament to him playing the role that you don't like him. You know, you like him as a sort of actor and a person. You're like, oh, you're just a scumbag, and you did it really well.
It's like if Ryan Reynolds played a bad guy, in a way. Like, I mean, I'm sure he has played a bad guy at some point in his thing. I can't do it off the top of my head, but it just wouldn't sit right with me in that sense. He's just that kind of like nice guy. He's a nice guy kind of thing. So is Jake Gyllenhaal. But no, as a whole, I enjoyed the film. I loved the topics that it went over. It didn't hold back on anything. That was nice. There was no like trying to hide any of the gore or anything like that. It's like this guy is in the middle of these terrible crimes. They said terrific crimes. Definitely not terrific crimes.
Terrific crimes.
It's my favorite kind. Those drive-bys, my favorite kind of crimes. No, like terrible crimes, and obviously those crimes.
Top 5 crimes. Go.
And yeah, so for example, the first one he goes to is the drive-by when the guy gets shot in the neck. And there's just blood splurting out of his neck, kind of.
He's just creeping right in between, like that really awkward, like you shouldn't be here, but fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it, and that's how he gets the break, isn't it? Just by just.
And it's that the whole film. It's like he wants to better his own situation. He doesn't care what he does, who he fucks over, who he has to step on. It's like a proper anti-hero in a sense of like.
Oh, definition of.
Yeah, but like that one with the way they're trying to save his life. And he's like, "Let's put this camera in here. This is the best shot." Like, I'm trying to save a guy here, mate. Fucking, he's like, nah. And then like when he moves the body to get like a better angle, like he does not give a shit.
The note I have at that point is, you horrible man. Moving a body for a better shot, but
it's all about the gram, mate. It's all about the gram.
It's all about do it for the paycheck. But it's like when he sees the shot he has once he's moved the body, he has that kind of look of glee on his face, and it just kind of like it made me feel slightly ill in the sense where it was like, you are such a horrible human being. You didn't even. I mean, I don't know if the guy was dead or dying or whatever. And it's like you didn't even try and
check a pulse. Can I help the guys? Like, nah, the lighting over here is even better.
I know, and it's like it's disgusting that look on that face, the kind of like smirk, knowing he's got what he came for, and without caring whatsoever what's happened around him. And it's obviously that's the theme that goes throughout the film, as you said. It's he only cares about himself.
Yeah, massively. Like when he sabotages Bill Paxton's van.
Yes.
But beats him to one story, and it's not like, oh, I'm going to get better. It's like, no, I'm going to kill him because 1, he'll die. 2, I get a really good story that'll be first 2. Yay!
Exactly.
Double whammy.
What did he do? Cut the brakes?
Yeah, cut the brakes. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't 100% sure what he'd done.
Well, the van had smashed into I think park traffic, which can only assume that he's
cut the brakes.
Yeah.
All of my notes, most of my notes are like, you horrible man, he's so slimy, such a scumbag. But at the same time, there's just something, obviously he hides it so well when he's with new people.
Yeah.
So he can switch it off, like that kind of creepiness that he has, he switches it off to then become this charismatic guy that you almost get drawn to, not as a viewer, but the characters around him get drawn to. Yeah. Like Riz immediately when he comes in, he's like...
And even Rene Russo with the sort of presenter, like the network person who was dealing with the stories. Like
the kind of like the editor kind of thing, where she chooses what goes on at what time and what she wants to air. And he obviously, but again, it's that the relationships he has with those people is that he comes across as quite likable at first, and they kind of get drawn and sucked into his world, and then he just takes control of them. Over the thing, and
he manipulates them.
He manipulates
her. He's getting the good stuff, and she's getting the ratings that she needs.
He not wants, needs.
And he's like, oh well, if you sleep with me, like you'll get more. You'll get like exclusivity on these stories. Riz puts his life on the line just for like the such a journalist thing, the exposure of that's and then obviously that's his ultimate downfall, is Riz dies and Lewis couldn't give a shit.
No, obviously at the end, it's why he wants him to die because he knows the guy is still alive in that car and tells him, "No, he's dead. Come take the shot." And obviously he gets killed and he gets an even better
shot. Yeah.
Of the thing, the guy gets not mowed down, but killed by the police, and then gets the last dying breaths of
he sets up that whole situation of like filming the triple murder, lying to the police about having the suspects on tape, to then follow them to like get the police to come to that diner because he knows like it's all like a story in his head of how can I get this? How can I get this? Not shit, people are dying, or shit, there's some bad men in there. It's just all about him, and everything's getting bigger and bolder and taking it to the next level. And just like you see, like the he steals that bike to get like his first camera. Then the guy's like, "The fuck kind of piece of shit camera's that?" And then he's got like the fancy car, and he's got like 2 cameras, and you see the upgrade of through really shitty means because it's all about him being the best.
And like what I found very interesting in the film is actually that whole job that he takes himself down, because obviously that job exists. You need those, the local. It's not something. It's never footage you'll see on the BBC or on Sky News, but it's something we don't really have in England. It's all the local cable news channels that in England,
we've not got like 7, 8, 9 stations all covering the same areas.
No, exactly. We have BBC Northwest or whatever, and then we'll have ITV, whatever, and so that's it. You don't have. I guess you have the local Manchester news station, but like, unfortunately, in a way, realistically, who tunes in?
No one from the MEN is chasing down car wrecks to get.
No.
What they'll do instead is watch This Morning and come up with 5 articles on what people have said on This Morning, because that's really Manchester based.
No, I just meant TV. I just meant TV channel, like, because obviously the MEN don't have their own. Do they have their own TV channel? No. But there is a Manchester TV channel dedicated to Manchester. There is. Yeah, there is. My friend worked for it for a bit, so that's how I know it exists.
That's how good it is.
Yeah, exactly. So it was on in a not Gourmet Kitchen. What's the Kettlebell? They used to have it on in Kettlebell Kitchen when I used to go there.
Right. Okay.
But anyway,
we don't have that sort of cable TV, cable news, local news, like.
And as you said, like, it's the stuff I know it sounds ridiculous, like bringing this in, but it's the competition you see in Anchorman, for example.
I wrote down Anchorman as well.
Yeah. Because that's a prime example of, obviously not serious, but of the battle.
That showed the launch of like 24-hour news as well. And it's like
that was Anchorman too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm saying that was and that's what fuels this.
Yes.
You're not just filling a kind of 1 hour slot in the evening. You're filling 24 hours of whatever you can get your hands on. Yeah. Doesn't need to even be accurate. Doesn't need to just something that people will watch and they'll be like, "Oh my god, did you see the thing on that?" And you're like, "Oh, I'll look at that." And it's just that really sad way. And I suppose as you who still works in journalism, you must see this as well, because it's I kind of wrote down like there's that clickbait culture of
it is
first but not right, like gory, like just misleading people into because she said like, "Oh, I want crimes in the white neighborhoods." She doesn't give a shit about like black people killing black people in the poor bits or whatever. It doesn't matter.
But you see it even more later on in the film when they, after the triple murder, and the guy comes in and says that it's all come down. It wasn't actually a triple home invasion. It was a drug war, drug feud thing. And she's like, "Yeah, but I don't care about that." And he's like, but that's the story. And she's like, "Yeah, but that's not what people want to." It's not the story that I want to put on air. Yeah. And it's like she wants the big, the bold, the stuff, and she doesn't want what's accurate.
And it's the way that you see it in the real American media. It's like they rule people by fear.
Yeah, I mean, look at Fox News. We were joking, well, we're not joking around, but as like my boss said, I went on Fox News the other day and it was scary. And I went on Fox News and their website is crisp. Like, it's so clean. And then you look at the content and you're like, "Oh my God, this is scary shit." And it's like, a lot of it's just like, it's like, The main one was it yesterday was like under China's thumb, and I was like, oh my god, just stop, please. But it's like proper Trumpy everything.
The one I saw yesterday was the woman was like, this is COVID-19, not COVID-1, not COVID-2. And you're like, COVID-19. You're like, yeah, that's because of the year it came out, not anything. It's like, but she was adamant that this is like the 19th one, so like, people need to answer questions of why it's got this far, and you're like, be afraid, and you're like, fucking hell. And that's what she was doing with the news, and the film was like, make white people afraid, because then they'll tune in. Because it's like car crash television, isn't it? Like, you can't help but look, and that's what she was going for.
I will never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Excuse me, I have something you'll be very excited about.
You have a good eye. I want you to contact me when you have something.
Something like this.
Think of our newscast as a screaming woman running down the street with her throat cut.
You will be seeing me again.
Tommy, are you still enjoying your, was it DDH? Is it called DDH IPA?
It's just a DDH IPA, but it's called I Have Become the Boat.
Have you become a boat?
I haven't, but although I do feel like it is just a heavy beer in terms of like when they say full-bodied, they're not messing around. Like I feel like I'm putting on like a stone just from drinking this beer.
Because you both got the deliveries from Cloudwater, didn't we? You got.
Yeah. They're here. Actually, I can tell you what I've got. Yeah. I got 5, just because. I think most of the ones I got are from Cloudwater. Only just because I couldn't be bothered to go through their website and all the collaborations and clicking on what was in stock, what wasn't. I just wanted 5 beers for the next 5 weeks. That was about it. So I just clicked stuff, and I was like, I drink all those types of beers, so I'll have those, and I've had none of them, so that'll be fine.
Yeah, I bet I got 9 from them. I went through every section, seeing what they had.
And you have more free time than I do, so it's fine.
We both still work. I mean, I probably did it at work, but that's not the point. I mean, I'm not sure Annie listens to this, but you seem to be really busy this week, Tom.
I'm very busy, very busy. I've averaged like I've met my quota every single day, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I have.
I mean, I'll show Annie our WhatsApp conversation.
But I have met my quota, so
you have.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
The Gary Goes. I was wary with the ginger and plum, but it's actually a nice beer.
I would think in my head this would go down better as a 330ml can, not a 440. Just a personal.
But me and you've gone away from the whole pint culture, whereas people would go, "Oh, it's such a small can."
Yeah, but so for example, Tiny Rebel stick to the 330s.
Yeah.
And for some beers, they need just to be 330s, because I've emptied the rest of the beer. You can see there's still quite a lot left in that glass, and it's just like it is very nice.
It's like when I used to drink my recorder legs. You got those big bottles where you get like more than a pint glass, and fucking hell, like this is taking forever.
It is, yeah.
But this is it's got, I would say it's got the right amounts of ginger and plum to be not, because ginger's quite, I think anything you do, if it's
not
cooking,
a big fan of ginger. I like it in certain dishes, but it can be so overpowering.
Oh, yeah, like I've made curries for you and stuff, and there's ginger in it. But if you put too much in, it sort of overpowers everything. And this has got, you obviously want to get it, because it's one thing we're always critical of, is saying like, oh, there's no fucking ginger in this, or there's no orange, or it's got enough. It's good. It's different. It's decent.
Because you mentioned sushi earlier on, and obviously I know you're not a big sushi fan, but when obviously one of the things you do with sushi is normally put a bit of ginger, put wasabi, a bit of soy sauce, and then you eat it. I'd always leave the ginger out, because I just feel like then I'm just eating ginger. I can't taste the fish. I can't taste anything else. It's like spicy ginger, because you end up with the spice from the wasabi, and then the ginger taste, and then I can't taste the fish and the rice, and so it's just like.
I mean, if it was sriracha, you'd fucking douse that shit all over it.
I wouldn't. You know what? It's been like 3 months since I've had sriracha. I haven't been able to find it. So
it's in my fucking fridge.
Oh yeah, can you give it to me next time you pop by? Just drop off the sriracha. Thank you very much.
When I was doing some research, and I was like, I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. Really good.
Very good, yeah.
And I'm like, and I looked through his list of films. I was like, I have not seen enough Jake Gyllenhaal films. I've seen 6.
Okay.
And I was like, I need to watch more of his films because he's up there with the people were saying about the actors who can make you believe they can beat any character.
Yeah.
He's not Jake Gyllenhaal. He is whoever he's playing. And I'm I need to watch more of his stuff. Was my main takeaway from how good he was in this.
Oh, absolutely. The performance in this you can't fault. It's just such, as I said earlier on in the podcast, it's such a contrast to anything else you've ever seen him play.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a contrast to any sort of character from. There's no. I can't think of any characters off the top of my head where I'm like, oh, he's kind of like that. It's such a different. And I think that was such a. I was reading through some research, and then Dan Gilroy, who wrote it and directed it, he wanted it to be different. Like, it wasn't like there was no inspiration taken from something else. It was It's a very different character, and he studied, like you said, people do that job and the kind of person it takes, and that's not someone who usually makes a movie star. And also for Gyllenhaal to pull it off without any, like, you have no like research material really.
Well, unless he actually like followed people who do Nightcrawling, but obviously I don't know if he has. But it's like, so I'm just quickly going over some of my notes that I've written, because my notes are reactionary more than anything else. But like, he's so very believable, and that is always it comes down to that, because there are films where you know you're like, if you put Chris Pratt, for example, as a villain, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying Chris Pratt is a bad actor, not at all, but Chris Pratt is a certain type of role. That's it. That's what he is, and that's forever what he will be. And it's a bit the same with like Ryan Reynolds, and this is what they are. Whereas for this, you've taken someone from their kind of like stereotypy main guy that you like and thrown it out there, and he's made it so believable. And at the same time, you hate the character for what he is, and yet you can't help but admire the cuntiness. You can't fault the effort he puts into being a cunt. You can't fault the levels of cuntiness he reaches.
And the drive.
And that's what I mean. The drive it's just, but in my head, it's like you see it early on when he's trying to get the job at the scrapyard. Yeah. And he's like, I can do this. What about this? What about this? And it's like, he just wants to find something he can be good at. And I admire that, because so many people are happy to just, do the job 9 till 5, fucking get the money, and then that's it. Like, it doesn't matter. Whereas he was like, he could probably do a normal 9 to 5 job, work at a, restaurant, clean some dishes, do all that shit. But he was like, I want to find something I really enjoy, and I want to be the fucking best at it. And it's so random how he comes across the Nightcrawling. It just so happens that he is a bit of a morbid human being, comes across this car crash, steps out, sees this thing, he's like, oh fuck, I could do this. Yeah, and then bang, that's it.
It's a thing you probably don't even know exists until you see it. And he's like, oh shit, like, it's not a job you need qualifications for, but it is a job that you can drive yourself to be the best, or to be one of the best. And it is perfect for that character. But my other note was, what happened to Rene Russo? Like,
I'm probably fucked her and left her, to be honest. Because
I mean the actual.
Oh right, I thought you meant character. I don't know if Jake Gyllenhaal had sex with Rene Russo. I don't think he did.
No, the fact that the director is her husband, I'm going to guess not.
You never know. Maybe, they're into that kind of thing, invited him. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. You're like, Rene, do you fancy? Yeah, all right. You can have him. I'll take the,
There's only, it's 25 years between them, so,
Hey, he might like older ladies, There's nothing wrong in that.
But like Rene Russo is probably, I don't know
it's before my time. We'll put it that way.
Because there's like, in the 90s, it was like Lethal Weapon, Tin Cup with Kevin Costner, Ransom with Mel Gibson. She was in the Major League Baseball films. She was like She was the wife of the star.
Yeah.
For quite a long period of time. Then she just kind of disappeared, and it wasn't until 4, because she's 4's mum.
Of course. Oh my god. Yes. She's yeah. Freya?
Yeah,
No,
Frigga.
Frigga, but she's Freya. Yeah, Frigga. Yeah.
So what's quite nice, and it's something that I've seen a few Marvel things, and like you see it mentioned, like Marvel have done this really good thing of giving older actors parts in these films.
Yeah.
And it opens them up to a whole new generation of people. And I read Rene apparently says people run up to her kids and go, "Oh my god, you're Thor's mum," and she's like, "How did he?" Well, first she's like, "How the hell do I know who I am?" "Oh, it's because of this." And
yeah.
And it's so good that someone like Rene Russo who missed out on this whole like cinematic universe like time that didn't exist back.
Who plays Odin?
What's his name? Anthony Hopkins.
Is it Hopkins? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Again, so that's another kind of like that's another one that obviously Anthony Hopkins is probably on a different ballpark than Rene Russo, but still opens up Anthony Hopkins to a lot of people because he plays such a big part in those films, doesn't he?
It's these actors and actresses that kids would never know who they are.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you're Thor's dad or you're Thor's mum.
Yeah.
And then who knows, they might click on Wikipedia and go, oh, that's that film with Thor's dad in, and you never know, might watch it. And it's so cool for these actors who their time could have been over, but sort of Marvel have brought them back into the fold of being in movies, and she'll probably be in whatever movie Thor's in next as well, no matter like how it's done or what, you never know.
Well, I mean, she is dead, but
that doesn't stop Marvel.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Being dead is not.
They managed to shove her back into Endgame somehow, but it was just. I'm just saying that the likelihood is she probably won't be in the next Thor, but you never know.
And you would hope that in a way, like if there's a Hollywood film where they're looking for like a 67-year-old like leading woman or like a woman, you're like, do you get more gravitas now? It's like people know your name's still out there because of
of course,
that. Like, you know, this film was only 6 years ago, and she was playing like the leading woman in it.
It does help that she knows the director.
So apparently, said he wrote the part for her in mind, because he said like with anyone else it could have come off as quite like hard-nosed bitch kind of way, but obviously he knows his wife and knew that she could add a bit of warmth to it as well, and you're like, woo!
Right. But it's that relationship that Lewis has with her. It's very interesting because obviously he starts off as trying to impress her.
Yep.
And by the end of it, he's totally dominating her.
Yeah.
And that last bit where he's basically like, right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this, and this. And you're going to, the price I'm going to give you is the lowest price. That's it. That's the only thing. And you can see it in her face. And I don't know if it's her being turned on, her scared. I think it's like every single thing. Yeah. All of it is just like, she's like, I'm really turned on, but at the same time petrified of this man.
Is there a sense of, look what I have created as well? Like,
yeah, maybe, yeah, in that sense.
He turned up like, can I sell you this? And he's like, okay. Then like weeks later, it's like, these are my demands.
Yeah.
He's like, shit, yeah, I did that.
I think it might be a bit more than weeks, but yeah, like it's just very, it was just really fascinating. It kind of,
because they were using each other as well. Like,
of course,
she was using him at the start because she wants the footage, and then he starts using her because he has the footage and knows that he can become a bigger thing because of it.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's a weird arrangement.
I mean, even that scene where he's like, I'll give you the footage, but you have to mention video production news.
Yeah.
Which sounds like VPN, which I was like, okay. Video production news, you have to mention it at least a couple of times when you're doing a thing. And that whole scene, when they're going through the entire footage on air, and they're like, and you can hear her say this. First of all, anchors, fucking brilliant not being put off by someone shouting in your ear. Say it again. And it's like, fuck, shut up. Like, and then they're like immediately like quickly trying to work it in.
I would love to be able to hear what an anchor hears.
Yeah, like what Jon Snow hears on Channel 4 kind of thing. Is it
like a live broadcast is hearing what and hear them do the delivery without, there's like no hesitation, there's no deviation.
Yeah,
but exactly. Taking that information in There's a really good sketch on a Scottish comedy show where the guy's doing the QBC channel.
Yeah.
And he's selling a lighter, and he's like, "You got 4 minutes on the lighter?" And he's like, "Well, if you like a fag," and he's doing and the guy's like, "You're a prick, Richard." It's a fucking lighter. And then he says that we're going to go to adverts, and he starts lighting up a fag. He's like, "We went to adverts 3 minutes ago. You're back on 3, 2." And he's like putting the fag away.
Yeah, but it's impressive. But at the same time, the whole scene was so tense because they kind of showed you where he went in the house. We didn't really see what was going on. All you got shown was there's no baby in the crib. Thank fuck, they're not that dark.
But the way they were telling it on the TV is like darker, make it darker, zoom in. Like, is there a baby? Is there a baby? Like, fucking hell.
But even then, I knew there was no baby. I was still fucking tense. Like, I was sat there going like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. There's so much going on.
Because you watch it as if you were a viewer who didn't know, and that's how they would do it, to be like they know there's no baby, because if there was no baby, they wouldn't show it. But they're like,
of course,
is there a baby? Is there a baby? Like, this is just really horrible. And it's like, oh.
You can imagine people at home on the edge of their seats, like, oh my god, what's going on? What's going on?
And you see stuff like that in the media now as well. It's just like, read about the sensational thing. It's like, it's not sensational at all. You're like, you made me click, you bastards.
Yeah, exactly.
You fucking got me.
Now, we need to touch upon Riz, because Riz, I know you're a huge fan of Riz Ahmed. And like, I haven't seen enough of what he does, but I do know that this is not the conventional Riz Ahmed role, in the sense that
I don't think there is one.
No, but I have seen him in I don't know what it was, and I know that you showed me. It's like a TV show that was quite recent. He was in
the Night of,
or whatever. And doesn't he play someone extremely slick in that, in like a shirt and like well dressed?
No.
And, no. But there is. I've seen him in something where he plays the slick, really nicely dressed, kind of like shirt, jacket, kind of like.
He plays like a genius scientist in the Jason Bourne film.
I don't know.
He's like an inventor of something that rivals Google. He's like proper smart.
Right.
But then, so what I wrote down was, is Riz Ahmed one of the best British movie actors of the modern time?
Is he one of the most underrated actors of the current people that we know now?
I think the general population probably underrated. Yeah, I think in the industry, I think he's very well respected and big. Yeah,
but I'm just meant in the general public, like
you said about this the what is the normal Riz Ahmed roles. Like, the first thing I saw him in was Four Lions.
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah, Omar, he plays Omar in Four Lions. Yeah,
where he's basically a terrorist.
Yeah, but but it's a comedy. But yeah,
he's like the smart one in the operation, but it's still a comedy.
The smart
one. Yeah. So that's like the first role, and you're like, to be able to do that, to pull that off, brilliant. He's like I said, plays like a genius in the Jason Bourne movies. He's in Rogue One.
Yeah, he's
plays the pilot. Yeah, he's in Venom. And the Night of, he's like the son of a Pakistani taxi driver who's going to uni, and he's having a bit of a shit time, and he goes and gets drunk and high and basically sleeps with this woman, and he wakes up in her apartment and she's dead, and he's kind of like got a knife beside him, but he has no recollection of what's happened, and it's like he goes to jail, and it's all about like the trial and all that. Like, really good acting you see, and it's about like, you take someone who's probably innocent and you put him in the American jail system, and it actually made him a much different person than what he went in as. Yeah, like it changed his whole personality.
Yeah, of course.
Really fantastic program. Really, like, it's dark. Like, there's no humor to it. And in fact, I've seen him play all these different like roles. Like, he's tremendous. This is totally different again. It's like he's playing like a bit stupid, like just a guy
insecure, a guy who's down on his luck, needs money, and will just do absolutely anything to get it. But I was just going through what he does, and obviously did you ever watch Dead Set when it came out?
Well, what was that?
So Dead Set was basically, it was around the time of the 21 Days, about 2008. So 21 Days to like later and all that stuff. and it was like a Big Brother, but they all become zombies.
I remember who's the girl that was in that. She was another British actress.
Jane Winstone.
Yeah.
She was in Donkey Punch. Great film.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's what you would call a horror film.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was in that, and she was also in the Kidulthood and Adulthood, which you definitely need to fucking watch.
Yeah.
Because obviously we went to see What's his face?
Blue
Story, and you really like that, and I think you'll love Kidulthood, Adulthood. But yeah, so I'm just going through it. It's obviously you see like what he's been in, and he's been in like obviously Dead Set, then did Four Lions, Centurion, which was tragically bad. Then he played in Ill Manners, which is again a like film with Plan B and stuff, and it's very kind of British. And then suddenly you see the kind of move towards the Nightcrawler was like one of his first kind of then Jason Bourne, The Night of, and then you move on to like more stuff like Rogue One, and he's up and coming at this point, and now he's obviously in Venom, so he's made it into the kind of like
he made Marvel and Marvel. Disney must know who he is. Like
yes, exactly. And then he's in the OA, which I haven't seen on Netflix, but I haven't seen it. He's on there for 3 seasons, so like he's obviously up and coming, but obviously we probably know of him before the American people because of what he did in the UK. But in this, it was just so fascinating seeing him in that role, because he can be so assured in so many of his roles, where he knows what he's like so on top of the situation in all of his roles. As you said, like he's a genius in Jason Bourne, and he plays all these things that you believe him in. And then in this, he's stuck in this like basically following this absolute sociopath and he's just like, I just need the money. And even when he's fucking negotiating his raise, he's like 17,000 a night, and it's like, and then this is that line where he's like, I could have got more, couldn't I? It's like, absolutely. And it's like, oh mate, I just felt so sorry for him the whole way through.
Like we said about Jake, but you believe the character, which is a testament to how good. Have you seen the thing that Riz brought out, the Long Goodbye? Have you watched it? No. Mate, after this, watch The Long Goodbye. It's like a 10-minute like mini film on YouTube. Right. Ridiculous. Like I'm not going to tell you anything about.
No, I'll watch it. I'll go to Aldi, come back and watch it.
And on the back of that, he's released an album as well, which I haven't listened to yet.
So what does he rap? What does he?
On what he does on The Long Goodbye, there's a rap on it. So I'm guessing the album's like that, and you're like, the guy's fucking switched off.
Yeah, I saw on IMDb that stage name was Riz MC, so I'm guessing it's down to that.
But yeah, watch that when you come back.
MC? Yeah, Riz MC, and yeah, British name, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so obviously those are probably the three main characters, Rene, Russo, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Riz Ahmed, and then obviously you have the little side plots, side characters, and all that stuff. But what was his name? The guy who gets
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Paxton.
Who's like a side player in like every film ever.
Yeah, but then we come down to obviously it's all everything gears up to that final scene where he sets up the two guys in the. Well, he doesn't set them up in the restaurant, but he sets up the whole scenario of him trying to get the perfect footage.
Yeah.
To go like massive, and it's that the whole film is just that descent into his obsession. So, and what I still don't really get is obviously like he logs every single one of his videos and names them and does all that. And I think it's just like, it's that maybe to show that meticulousness of how prepared he is. And you see him, he's just constantly ironing his shirt. Like his life is nothing. There is no life. There is no life there whatsoever.
His life became that. That was his life.
And also, that police chase was probably one of the most realistic police chases I've seen in a very long time. Because a lot of the time, it's very Hollywoody, over the top, blah, blah, blah. But then, when he's chasing him and there's the crash, even the main characters are like, holy shit! He keeps his cool and kind of avoids it, but at the same time, it's like, they see the first crash and he goes straight through that and he's like still calm. When the car flips and it's like sliding on its roof, even he's like, oh, which is your exact reaction in that situation. And it's that kind of like last bit of adrenaline of the film, and I'm quite glad they did that, because I'm not saying the film was too long, but it was like, I don't know, there's probably 15 minutes I could have cut out.
It was building up, though, wasn't it? Like this, the events of like a guy getting shot, and then like a death, then the home invasion. It builds up to like the seriousness of each crime. Until you get the big crescendo of the car chase, Riz's death, and it just kind of makes him the star of that industry, in a sense of like, how do you top that? Like,
you don't, and then but that's what gives him the money to then get to where we get to the end of the film.
Yeah,
as a crew. And in a way, I really like, but I also hate the fact that he gets away with it all.
Yeah.
He's just such a fucking scumbag. And I'm like, why is this guy still allowed to do what he does and yet makes money and gets people to follow in his footsteps? And even that last speech, I'm like, I respect you, but I hate you so much. And it's just,
that's exactly what they were going for, wasn't it? And they fucking nailed it.
They nailed it, and it's very much that's a huge like plus to the writing, to the acting.
Yep. And
like I have like a few criticisms here and there, and as I said, there was a couple of times where I was like, yeah, this doesn't have to be a 2 hour and 5 minute film, because not enough happens throughout, in the terms of the arc of the character. Then not enough happens for it to warrant nearly like going over 2 hours in my head anyway when I was watching it. You could have condensed that into an hour and 45, which may not seem like a lot, but that 20 minutes is a long time.
I think if they come to a point where I'm happy if films are 2 hours is fine. There's too many that I'm like, John, I've got a list of films to watch, and I'm like 240, 230. You're like, 2 hours, that'll do.
Wait for James Bond.
17 hours.
But yeah, so there's that, and like, yeah, I can't. There's not a lot I can fault about it, in a sense that it was something fresh. It was something different, which is always something I look for in.
Yeah.
Because obviously this doesn't really have it's a drama. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's a drama, but in the sense that there's nothing like it out there.
No.
So, and it's like you could technically.
As much as we love our cinematic universes and all that, like, it's still great to get something different and fresh, and like you said, just a completely different take on like a hero, and yeah.
Yeah, it's just your typical anti-hero, but it's just that the world you're kind of thrown into is a world that in the UK we probably don't have.
No.
Because no one's, trawling the streets looking for accidents, whereas in America it's clearly a very big thing. So obviously for us over ocean viewers, it's just a whole new world, and
it's the kind of thing I would watch a 10-part Netflix documentary series about.
Yeah, exactly. If someone was like did the life of the Nightcrawlers or something like that, and then you would be like, following them around. Just, I mean, to be fair, the whole world was fascinated about hillbillies and fucking tigers. So if you do
it's still.
I mean, it still is, but I'm just saying, like, the whole world was obsessed with such a trashy concept, and I'm not downplaying how good it was. I'm just saying it was trashy. It was the trashiest concept, and yet the whole world tuned in. Obviously, the pandemic helped, but even if we didn't have COVID-19, this would still be the number one thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so this is why, like,
people enjoy seeing a world that they know nothing about.
Exactly.
Because everyone's like, "What? You can get a tiger for $2,000?
Yeah.
Why have we not got a tiger?"
Did you know that there is a Louis Theroux episode that has Joe Exotic throughout. I watched it the other day. It's very interesting. You should give it a go.
Okay.
It's episode 14 on the normal Louis Theroux, not Louis Theroux Meets. It's just the normal Louis Theroux one.
Okay.
Anyone who's listening, episode 14, and it follows. He spends time with Joe Exotic for most of the documentary. So it's very interesting. It's a very young Joe Exotic. It's like 2000. It's like early days. But
I think that they had his current husband was on like Good Morning Britain all day, and you're like, wow, this has gone like. This has gone.
But yeah, so obviously, I would watch maybe a 6-part, maybe not 10. 10's a bit long, but 6-part. The same length of.
I'd watch to find more about that, like the existence of those people and kind of what
life.
And
their life.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. That's what made the film interesting, because you just don't know. Like, we don't know it really exists. And I suppose even if you do know, like if you watch American TV, you'll know that maybe it exists, but you don't know to what extent, and maybe the competition and like all that side of it. So it was really good. What are you giving your? Am I a boat? What the fuck is it called?
I can't fucking see it because it's so dark in my room now. I Have Become the Boat. I Have Become the Boat is getting. See, it's a tough one because I have enjoyed it, but I wouldn't have it again. So I'm gonna give it a harsh 2.75 because the 3 is always I would have it again, but I think it's just the heaviness of it. It's just I can't. I'm struggling to finish it, and not. It's only. I mean, it's 7%, but it's
only 7%.
It's only 7%, but. You know,
I mean that pastry stout last week. I was feeling that afterwards.
Yeah, but that was like 15. But yeah, it's just a bit too heavy, and but it's 2.75. But it's a harsh. Like I'd probably, if it was a bit lighter, it'd probably be a 3.5. Like I enjoy the taste. I enjoy everything about it. It's just too much and a little bit too heavy. So yeah,
I am giving this Gary Goes by Runaway 2.75 as well. Because it's nice, and I've nearly finished it. It's like a nice beer. It's got an interesting, different taste.
Yep.
But if I went somewhere, I was like, I probably wouldn't have it again. But I've enjoyed having it.
Yeah. If we went to Cloudwater after your 12 weeks of isolation, I would not be rushing to have I Have Become the Boat, despite thoroughly enjoying it.
And I think 2.75 is enough for me to try it after you've had it.
Yes. No. I would recommend it, and I think you should try it. I think you'd like it. That's my view on it. So, but however, for Nightcrawler, I am going to give it a. The length. There are some films where the length doesn't bother me, but the length did bother me.
This is my complaint.
Yeah. There are some films where you could, because you can have a 2 and a bit hour action film because you can have long action sequences that make time go past very quickly. Like I felt like I sat through 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I enjoyed them, but I felt it, and for me that's a big thing. I don't want to feel like I'm spending my time when I'm watching a film. If you get what I mean, I want an escape, and it was like. For example, True Romance was a bit shorter than this, but I know it was 2 hours, but I didn't feel the 2 hours go by. Whereas this, I felt them. And so for me, that's a big minus. And obviously, I've praised the acting, I've praised the writing, I've praised the concept and everything else. And that makes it a very good film, but it doesn't make it a great film. And I think that I'm going to have to give it a 7.5. And I feel harsh giving it a 7.5. But I can't give it an 8, so I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Yeah, this is the one film I don't have the time issues with. There's many more that have wasted my time in this.
Of course, yeah.
I enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't even near the top of my list as a lot of the ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, film I really enjoyed Jake and Rez and the concept and everything. So I've given it 8.5.
There we go. So that's the quick maths, and it's very easy.
That gives it a score of 8 out of 10, which is pretty good.
Very good, yeah.
I think that represents the film well.
It does. It's 8 out of 10. in my book, an 8 out of 10 would be a great film.
Yeah.
That's what it averages to. I have no problems with that. So,
I think I've enjoyed. Sometimes the score also depends on my enjoyment of our conversation about it as well.
yes, of course.
The appreciation of like,
Yeah.
And that's definitely helped it. So yeah, Nightcrawler gets a score of 8 out of 10 as Tom prepares the glasses. Until next week, everyone stay safe. Fucking stay indoors. Don't go outside with all your mates to clap the NHS because that's just the worst thing you can do.
Do it from your window.
Yep. Until next time, from us, cheers. Nice.
We want all of it. Oh my God!
I think Lou is inspiring all of us to reach a little higher.